Hello, everybody, and welcome to Data Engineering Stuff. Today, we're going to talk about the EU Data Act and how it will apply to your business. So, what is this EU Data Act all about? So, first of all, we have a look at it from a point of view of a company and not some other organizations or customer, because it's really a complex topic, and many regulations are bound into this. So we will just have a look at how a company sees the EU Data Act and how it is affected by it. So first of all, it's all about data sharing and all about data sharing in a senseful format. So basically, the EU Data Act can lead to your company being forced to share data with others. So there could be some institution or some person with a legitimate interest, and then you will be forced to get these institutions or organizations the data that they have this legitimate interest. I will show you some examples to make that more clear. It's really high level because at the moment the EU Data Act is not yet is not applied, not already applied. It will be applied from the beginning of 2025. So let's have a look at 3 different scenarios where the EU Data Act will really change how we will work with data. So first of all, there are some things regarding official or state services like a civil protection service. For example, a telecommunication company could be forced to give data to a civil protection service because there could be some catastrophe happening, and it could be of interest for the public to find all mobile devices turned on to find missed people. And therefore, the EU Data Act now can force a company to share this data and share this data in a good format, like in JSON or XML, or in some really good processable format. So the second example, which we will later go into, is a smart home company that could be forced to provide the data that they collect from the customer's side to a third-party vendor. So imagine a company creating a camera and having some cloud solution to manage the videos and stuff like that. And the company could be forced to have some technical interface, some API to a third-party vendor that wants to create software working with the data from the camera. So it could be really the case that your company now is forced to give this data out. This is really, really new at the moment. There's no possibility for a third-party vendor to create such a software. So it's all about opening data up. The third one is again a bit different a topic. Imagine you are a company that provides a CRM system as a software as a service cloud solution. You could be forced to export all the data of a customer in a senseful format so they can easily switch or easily shift their data to another CRM provider. So you can't log in the user, you have to provide the data in some open format. Okay, we will deep dive into the smart home company example. And for that, we will think about the following. Imagine your company does smart home stuff, so it's in the IoT world, I would say, and we have three data types that are collected from the camera. Perhaps a bit fictional example, but imagine the camera has like more relational data collected, like when it is activated, when perhaps it recognizes a person in the room or something like that. In addition, this could be saved in an operational database, like an RDBMS or something like that. Additionally, perhaps this camera captures audio signals. So it's a microphone because it's security related, can, don't know, detect if someone tries to break your door or something like that. And it stores this data remote at your company. So you are the provider of the webcam. And yeah, store that in the file system. So here goes this who got into the room or I got activated. So this kind of event data. The file system stores like audio files, and at the end we have the blob storage storing the actual video format. Okay, you can argue that this is not a good way to store things, but it's a fictional example, and perhaps you know how things work. So perhaps from a legacy standpoint, perhaps features like the audio capture was added later or something like that. Don't know. So now there's the EU Data Act, and there is perhaps some other institution. This could be a software vendor, and the software vendor wants perhaps to create some management software for all your cameras in your home. And it wants to create this software for all camera vendors that are there. So it doesn't want to, it has to connect to all vendors to get the data. So what you will be forced to do, you will be forced to create an API where this third-party vendor can get the data of an individual customer to use the data in their software. So perhaps they could provide some kind of live stream from 3 different cameras, which are provided by 3 different vendors. And the EU Data Act will force you to make that possible. So it's not about only sharing the data. You will be forced to share it in a really good format. And yeah, I think this is something that is not too easy, because imagine building this API. Yeah, could be so some tricky questions would arise here, I think. So what you at the end will need is some kind of data management. I call this data management because I don't want to go into detail of how we can store different file format and so on. Someone could talk about data warehouse, data lake, data mesh, whatever. But at the end, what you need is some central way, at least a way to manage different data sources. Perhaps you also would need a really central store where you put your data together to make the data available, because otherwise you will be lost in all your internal data stores to provide them to external vendors. You will get into troubles like permission management, separating the data, getting all the data together in one external data product. And yeah, at the end, you will get money for it. So you will be paid for getting this API in place, and there will be a reasonable payment there for that. But you have to provide it, you have to put it in place, and therefore you will need some kind of central data management. And perhaps you also want to offload the workload that is generated by this API from this third-party vendor software for example, from your operational systems. And there comes a data platform into place that can be built use case driven directly for this use case. So perhaps if data is always used on a customer basis, you could store the data exactly in partitions assigned to individual customers, which would make providing this data really easy. And I think if you are clever about doing this, your company could at the end really make money with it, because you will be paid for providing this API. And if you do it in a good and cost-efficient way, it would be an income generated from something where you first only had some data collected. So what it is all about, simply think about the EU Data Act. It will be in place in 2025, and it could force you to provide data in a senseful format. So try to think about, would you be able to deliver such an API? And if not, which steps would you need to take to get there? So hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully you will be prepared for the EU Data Act. Or on the other hand, you are lucky and the EU Data Act wouldn't affect you in any way. Or perhaps you are on the other side and you are a software vendor that could now use data from other companies. So thanks for watching. See you and goodbye.